Hello. Oh God, lost audio. Cannot hear you, sir. Nope. Oh Christ. Um, can you hear me? Can you hear me? You can't hear me either. What the fuck? We could just hear each other a second ago. Wow. Hold up. Wait a minute. Nope. No audio. Wait. I hear you now.
Yeah, I had to change the mic over to the webcam instead of the one to mine.
Oh.
And now I can't hear you again. Okay.
You can't hear me?
Wait, what's that? Hang on.
Oh, nobody's trying to add a camera. What's going on here?
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So these are working. All right. So I'm using basically,
Basically, the computer.
yeah, let's take these out.
The freaking AirPods be having issues sometimes, man. I don't know.
It's weird. It was working just fine before we went live.
It's how it always goes, man. Like freaking ghosts out to get us or whatever it is out here. I don't
Apparently,
know.
there are spirits in this room. Apparently,
I'm sure there is, man. I got my pyramid here. I'm for safety. Speaking of
my
weird,
necklace is back in Georgia.
oh God, I haven't, dude. Mine went missing as well. Like I have no idea where it went. To be
This is
honest,
such a hurry to pack to come out here. This forgot. I knew I was going to. I had no protection. I'm wide open. Demonic forces. And
it's got to be somehow they wide open to the mermaids. Hey, man, I don't know. Maybe a death by mermaid wouldn't be so bad. You know what I mean? But
signs are
um,
coming from me. Speaking of which, I'm out here in Nantucket, Massachusetts, on an island 30 miles off the coast of Boston. We got these up, so.
I'll be honest, I have zero idea geography wise of where that actually is, but I know it's east coast somewhere, middle of nowhere. You said that
It,
they got
yeah, it's not far from New York. Rhode Island is up in that part of the country.
said they got a lot of like mermaid lore and lore about sirens out there and whatnot too.
Supposedly, I was looking for video, but I couldn't find it. They just aired it tonight on the show Paranormal Caught on Camera. But I guess since it's just started, they didn't put it on YouTube yet. I couldn't find any video, but supposedly Nantucket started out as a whaling hunting kind of thing. I'm going to the museum tomorrow to check that out. But
Every
since we
time,
are floating in the middle of the ocean out here,
anytime anybody says anything about Nantucket, I'm like, yeah, there once was a man from Nantucket. My God,
I haven't heard that one before.
never heard that one before. I'm sure
Never heard
you
that
never
one.
heard that. Don't lie to yourself.
I mean, I've heard it so much. It's been a while sitting out here. That's
Are
all
you
I do.
from Nantucket? It's like whenever I see a Tennessee ID at work, I'm like, "Are you from Tennessee?" Because you're the only 10 I see. Oh my God, it's so lame.
But I can't escape though. You know, Augusta is known for the golf. And guess who comes to the checkpoint at TDC today? People from the Masters and playing golf in Augusta. I can't escape.
Nah,
Apparently,
man, golf sucks there, dude. It sucks dealing with golf bags. That's the worst.
well, at least the one our machines in Augusta are big enough to scan them. Here we got to check them by hand. But anyways, sea creatures and monsters in ocean folklore. Now, when you think of sea monsters, what comes to your mind first?
Immediately, the Kraken. That's the first thing that pops into my head anytime anybody thinks of like sea monsters. And I think immediately of the Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Every time.
I'm going to
It's
show
one of
my
my
age.
favorite movies of all time.
Jason and the Argonauts. I'm to show my age now.
Hey, man, that's good stuff right there too. But Yeah, I think of that or the Leviathan that comes to mind. And as I was looking at the idea of the Leviathan, I didn't know how much it was mentioned in the Bible.
Yeah.
Um, find it interesting that the Bible would mention that, just like it mentions giants. But like, why would it mention that if it wasn't real? You know, like how do you never hear anybody talking about that? Like, like it does the little blurb about giants, little blurbs about Leviathan. But what was it? Hmm.
Well, it's funny. We know more about space and the moon than we do about our own oceans. Is what they say.
Yeah, I believe it because I mean, look what happens when we try to go down and explore it. People in submarines die. Like the people. Okay, it's not funny, but
That's what I don't get. I mean, you're in a metal container that collapses under pressure, but then you got fish swimming down there with nothing but their natural whatever, and they're fine. So what's up with that? Are they superhuman?
some I think it's something we don't understand. Like evolution designed them perhaps to be able to withstand the pressure. I think it's because we need that extra container that it creates more mass. Like I don't know the science behind it. I don't want people to kill me,
Yeah, that
but
makes sense.
I don't
Now,
know. But I
you
oh
mentioned the
my god,
Kraken. Do you think that can actually be out there, or do you think that's just mythology, or do you think that's based on some sort of historical
I
fact?
think that maybe the Kraken was it could have been colossal squids, which they've now started
Proven.
actually finding. Like they thought that was a myth too, but they're out there, dude. And that to me makes me never ever want to go in the ocean because that would be the worst way to possibly die. These motherfuckers got razors on their little
I
tentacles and
mean,
stuff,
they've washed up on shore. They have been proven that they exist.
and they're just
So who
outrageously
says that's not?
big. So I think that I think the idea of the Kraken is easily possible. Easily, I mean, it could be that it's colossal squid or it could be its own thing. I mean, we know very little about the freaking ocean, dude. Like again, it could
I
be
mean, it's
out
massive.
there.
Most of the planet is covered in water. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and it goes down miles and miles deep. Man. That's the Mariana Trench, just the deepest part somewhere out there. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
let's say that's where the megalodon could be at. I mean, who knows?
Hell, dude, there could be hidden worlds underwater that we don't know about. Entirely hidden freaking places.
Well, they say they
But
discovered the ocean on the bottom of the ocean, which I can't wrap my head around, but supposedly that's the thing.
what was that part?
But they discovered an ocean at the bottom of the ocean.
Oh yeah, that's a mind fuck. So like, whenever I was watching Planet Earth, they go to a spot in the ocean that has water that is more dense than the other water around it. So it
Mm-hmm.
creates a pool in the bottom, which doesn't make any sense like in your brain when you're looking at it, but they're
Bottom of the
actually
water, yeah.
um so I've seen actually a couple different videos on that now that like Planet Earth showed it, but like other people are like, yeah, that's a portal that they're showing on TV right there. And hey man, how the hell do I know? It could be
It could be. What are your thoughts on, how do you say it? Chiluthu? Is that how you say it?
Cthulhu.
Cthulhu, yeah, that's the one. He's like a
Cthulhu.
thing, right?
I don't know. I don't know enough about that one, but that sounds like something to look up. It's the only one that I didn't freaking look up, I think, right here. So what did I put? We got
Yeah.
Scylla and Charbalus in Greek mythology. Once yeah, that's the only one I didn't get. But I think that's a pretty famous one, honestly. Let's see. What can we find on Cthulhu?
I've seen memes and stuff, but I just never knew where it came from. Or how to even spell it, for one thing.
I think it's like spelled really weird. Cthulhu. Cthulu or something.
Cthulhu. Supposedly it's a mythopoeia, something like
Fictional comic cosmic entry.
that. I
Apparently
mean,
somebody made it up in I
Lovecraft,
don't know,
the Call of Cthulhu, how do you say it? Interesting. So it's a
it's
made
from
up.
outer space, bro.
Okay. Well, space
Okay,
is ocean, right?
so that one seems like it's science fiction, but oh
Yeah.
well, you learn something new every day. I did
Yeah.
want to mention that the idea, the places that Leviathan is mentioned in the Bible. So I guess Psalm 74:14, you broke the heads of the Leviathan in pieces and gave them as food to the people inhabiting the wilderness. This verse depicts God defeating Leviathan and using it as sustenance.
Yeah.
Like, see, that's the thing that trips me out because so God created this planet and all these creatures on it, but yet is defeating something he created.
Yeah.
That's one of those things that don't make any sense. And then it goes even further. It's like Psalm 104:26. There go the ships. There is a Leviathan whom thou hast mad to whom thou hast made to play in or therein. This verse describes Leviathan existing alongside ships at sea almost playfully.
But see,
Hmm.
there's so many contradictions in the Bible. Why would you create something like that in the first place?
Exactly. Why would you? Why? I don't know. That's interesting.
Well,
She tripping me out.
about the Leviathans that are actually featured in Supernatural. There's a season where they deal with these things. So basically, they came from what do you call it? The place in between heaven and hell,
Like purgatory.
purgatory. They came from purgatory. Supposedly, they were created before humans and angels, but for whatever reason, God banished them to purgatory. Then created the angels.
Hmm.
This is more supernatural now, but which I think has a lot of pretty realistic, lore involved within there.
I mean, honestly, man, I don't necessarily not believe that something like that could exist. So you have like things like the blue whale, for example, the biggest land creature in existence. Like there's things that are so big that we're just now finding, like there's no, to me, that could easily have existed in the past. Could it maybe have died out due to, us fish overfishing? Who knows? Maybe it got killed somehow in the past, but I think that could easily have existed.
Oh yeah, and to say there's something that's so massive that it's too heavy to even come up to the surface, so it just kind of floats around the bottom of the ocean.
It's probably like the god of the sea, you know what I mean?
Well, you saw this thing now that's been going around. They call it the blob. Have you heard that reference?
Um, is it like the patch of like radar on the freaking that they're
The
catching up
wave,
on sonar?
yeah, the wave indicator,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and they can't explain it. And it's huge. The same
Yeah,
as
that's trippy, man.
the people, other people are saying there's something to it. But, I mean, who knows what's going on in the ocean right now?
Who knows? I mean, it's a perfect place to conceal a lot of activities that the
I mean,
military
Atlantis.
industrial complex too. But
People think it's
Atlantis, yep.
Atlantis. Think it's underwater, even though it used to be above water.
Mm-hmm.
It could be, what they call the USOs, unidentified submerged objects. They're saying there's all kind of bases and UFO alien bases down there. And yeah, what better place to hide than in the ocean?
I mean, maybe that Disney movie on Atlantis was telling us a little something because their whole civilization existed not only under the water but under the ground. Like that's where they found them, the remnants of their civilization after it sank. But I'd
Yeah.
like to believe that some of them lived. I mean, there's text saying that they lived, but about
And
mermaids, man.
mermaids. I mean, there's different versions of them. People say they're the beautiful, like the Little Mermaid movie. Then you got the ones like in Harry Potter, which are completely hideous and ugly. But
Mm-hmm.
the lore behind mermaids, kind of like the siren, they want to lure men away, and then do whatever they do with them, eat them or enslave them or whatever they do. These what they call it, the song of the siren. Is that
Right.
mermaid or is that a whole different thing?
I don't know what the difference between sirens and mermaids would be. Like honestly, I feel like maybe they're probably the same thing. If we're being honest, like in mythology, it's probably the same thing, but
Yeah,
I don't know that for sure. So I'm just
maybe there's
reaching out
different
here.
species of mermaids that are different races of humans, different races of mermaids.
Right. There could be different. I mean, easily different types.
Mhm.
Let's see what we got. There's like some famous documentation on mermaids. So mermaid encounters. Christopher Columbus in his logbook apparently claimed to have spotted 3 mermaids during his voyage to the Americas. However, he described them as not particularly beautiful, even having male-like features, suggesting he might have seen something else like a manatee.
Manatee. People do
What?
say mermaids could have been manatees that they were confused by.
Hmm.
Like I've seen manatee, they're hard to mix up with a mermaid because they're basically like sea lions. They're huge things with fins on the end.
Right. Hmm.
Traditionally, mermaids are considered half human and half fish.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the depictions I've either seen that they're like incredibly beautiful or they look like fish, you know, human-like, with arms, but they're more like fish. Like they would be
Which makes more sense.
fish that almost evolved into humans, but not quite. You know what I mean? But
And there are some fish that can walk on water. I mean, walk on land.
it's like walking on water.
Catfish.
Jesus. Where's another one? So we got 1603 in Pendine, Wales. A former farmer named Thomas Reynolds supposedly witnessed the mermaid for a whopping 3 hours along with other villagers. Their descriptions talked about a monstrous fish with a human upper body.
Hmm.
Monstrous fish.
I mean, when they say monstrous, it could be related to it how big it is. If it's the size of a human. I don't know.
Right.
Are mermaids to scale with actual humans? Are they smaller, bigger?
I mean, this one, so I guess during World War II, Japanese soldiers stationed on the islands reported multiple encounters with mermaids. They were described as being around 5 foot tall with pinkish skin and carp like mouths. Not
Yeah,
5 foot tall.
it's no Ariel, that's for sure.
Yeah, no Ariel. We're not looking at Ariel. Now that'd be cool. I'd like to find a mermaid like that. That'd be cool. anyway.
With red hair and sea cups for bras or whatever.
Hey, about that life. Dozens of people in this Israeli town. That's crazy, man. I don't know. I think that it's plausible, man, that they exist. Like it could be written off as a lot of different things, but dude, the history is littered with all kinds of crap like this. How many eyewitness accounts do you have to discount before you don't believe it? You know what I mean? But
It's interesting that NASA was originally created to investigate the ocean. For whatever reason, they suddenly went to space.
Hmm.
There's different conspiracy theories behind that. Maybe they found something they didn't like or couldn't explain, and they're like, "Yeah, we're not going back in the ocean anymore."
Well, bro, I mean, if you really get down to brass tacks on all that, what was Hitler doing during World War II? He was big into the occult. He was looking for all kinds of artifacts. Like he started taking the ancient myths seriously and started looking for all this stuff. And according to their science, he was building craft and all that crap. So
Mm-hmm.
who knows? I was trying to find links when whether the UFO phenomenon was linked with freaking this kind of stuff, ocean lore and anything like that. And there's definitely lots of reports of UFOs coming up out of water and going into water out of the middle of nowhere. There's tons and tons of that. I know people in the Navy who have definitely seen it. Like the guy I work with who was talking to me about Bigfoot a lot. Like he told me more stories about seeing freaking UFOs come up out of the water or seeing all kinds of things. I don't know.
I mean, even people like Columbus and their logbooks have witnessed lights in the skies and stuff they couldn't explain.
Oh yeah. That list is so long that it's impossible for at least some of it not to be true. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like all these different people throughout history making it up doesn't make any sense. But
No,
I don't know.
I mean, a lot of people have fear of the ocean because they don't know what's there. I mean,
Oh yeah, man, I ain't messing
it
with
would be
that.
kind of creepy if you're floating out in the middle of the deepest part, and there's no one right below you, goes down for miles and miles of nothingness. That'd be kind of
Yeah,
fun.
man. I can't be messing with that, bro. I can't do it. Like there's people out here that'll go you can do kayaking whale watching tours, so you can go kayak with the orcas. No. Hard pass. Hard pass,
They
homie.
say the
Like
the
I
orcas talk you out of your kayak too. They put you
ain't
in.
no way. Like maybe with the I don't know. I seen a video of somebody getting like swallowed up by a humpback whale. I mean, it obviously spit her back out, but bro, can you imagine getting swallowed by a humpback whale? Like,
I
like
try not to.
I would never go into the water again.
I'd be
Never.
trying to pass for life. Yeah.
Like it wasn't even trying to eat them. Obviously, they just happened to be there. It just like comes up and they go disappear. Like, oh no, dude,
Yeah, these whales are so massive, but they open their mouths, water just gushes in. Like, yeah,
no freaking way. It takes you back to like the Jonah, Jonah and the whale or whatever story from the
oh,
Bible. Maybe that's a real story too. You really did get eaten by a whale. I
yeah,
don't
that's what
know.
they say. Yeah. I mean,
Oh my god. We got
yeah,
other ocean lore. So many cultures believe in story of sea gods and goddesses who personify the power and mystery of the ocean. Examples include Poseidon, the Greek god of the sea, Sedna, the Inuit goddess of the sea, and sea mammals.
I knew it Poseidon, but that's the only one I've heard of.
Yeah, this that's like the Greek and Romans deities or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I think it's just Greek. I think it's considered differently in Romans, but
Probably.
I don't know.
I
I don't
mean,
know it off the top of my head. I don't want to butcher it, but
well, in their culture, every possible action and reaction is based on something the god or goddess did. If the wind blew from weird direction, that was a goddess or a god doing it. That was how they explained everything.
right.
Not just any slight possibility, but
I think that's true. They did have like I know they did, have a pretty decent understanding of science and like maybe again, I've always stuck by the fact that I don't necessarily think that these gods were gods. I think that these were beings with advanced technology.
yeah,
That is, I've always
extraterrestrial.
thought that. Dude, I've been finishing. I don't want to go off topic too much here, but I've been finishing Graham Hancock's book on like the history of freaking UFO abduction. He's linking UFO abduction with cave art with DMT in the brain. So
Mm,
it's important notes here. So apparently throughout history they've done, tests on people using DMT and huge like 90% figures of people experience alien abduction while under the effects of DMT.
mm,
And the theory has been put forward that the people that have experienced UFO abductions, like without any drugs or anything like that, may be spontaneously releasing DMT in their brain in larger amounts. And I find that fucking fascinating. And I definitely want to do an entire episode on that because
yeah, that is interesting for sure.
that is a mind blowing subject because it's like, first of all, what about our psyche causes that to happen? Like what about what about our psyche when we put DMT into it makes us believe we're getting freaking abducted by aliens, or
Well,
is that
hallucinations,
actually happening?
right?
I mean that's trippy, but
That draws a line in between hallucination and dreams or fantasy, imagination.
mm-hmm.
What's real and what's not.
And see the thing about it is like the dude he investigated like when he started doing all this stuff he was an atheist. And since he started like using psychedelics, he's become like he believes that other world is real. Just like when he talks about some of the stuff in the book, it reminds me of how you talk about your dreams. Like that this isn't just a place you go to in your sleep. It's not just some random spot. It's a place that you're living out an entire another experience, dude. It's trippy. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's why if you dream, let's say you dream tonight that you're in a group of like 10 people. In the dream, they're not strangers to you. You know who they are because
Right.
you're actually in that reality, and you're kind of in the back seat, kind of watching from that perspective. But when you wake up, like, who the hell were those guys? You don't know.
Mm-hmm. Without a doubt, man. I don't know. It's definitely something interesting. And every time I think about, I did start watching that Sandman show too. And I'm
Yeah.
like, as soon as I started watching it, I was like, oh, I know why he likes this show. This guy, I'm like, the first line of the thing was like talking about how, what if your dreams are like people just think that the dreams are just random, but like, what if there's something more or something like that?
Hmm.
I was like, yeah, there's definitely something more, man.
I love dreaming. I find this life to be boring and limited, but when I dream, just possibilities are endless.
And speaking of, I think we've covered a little bit. Speaking of like weird mythical beasts and stuff like that, I was actually up in Greenwater this last weekend, and I took the kids and my mom. We went up hiking, right? And we went on. So there was a landslide that took out the road. So we decided we were just going to park and walk around it because hey, why not? And we
Mm-hmm.
were walking up the road, and like the whole time, not only did I feel like I was being watched, but my kid, he kept looking around and like he was like trying to talk to something in the woods. And I'm like, interesting, what's going on here?
Mm.
And then we started hearing this strange bird sound that I've never heard in my entire life. I've been out in the woods enough my whole life, never heard this bird one time. And it made me think of that guy, Scott, that we work with. He
Mm.
told me that he believes that like Bigfoot
They
they
can
can
mimic.
imitate the sounds of other animals.
Yeah, they can mimic.
And he said one time he was out in the woods and he heard this. It sounded like a toucan, and that is exactly what I heard. I'm like, that sounds like a freaking toucan because I was just watching Planet Earth recently. Like, there ain't no damn toucans out in the middle of this forest. And again, I'm telling
Did
you,
you
the
get it
whole
on camera?
time, like the whole time I was out there, I'm like, dude, I feel like I'm being watched. And so randomly ran into Scott randomly,
Mm.
like the next day at work, and because he was retiring,
Mm.
and he told me, he's like, yeah, you probably ran into like an adolescent because they're, very curious and they want to come out and like see you and or view you from a distance. You know what I mean? I mean, that's
Mm-hmm.
fucking interesting, dude.
Yeah,
That's
shoot.
not the only thing we heard. We also heard like tree knocking too. And at that point I started getting paranoid. So we walked back because I'm like, I got kids here. I'll come out here by myself. You know what I mean? But I don't want
That's a
to.
good spot to put on the map for future, check stones.
Yeah, it's interesting. I want to go back there. He told me that he'd go back with me, and
Mm.
still wants to take me up. I should just go with him, honestly, to his spot. He says he can prove it to me, and I've been terrified to do it, to be honest. And I'm like, man, like,
I want a chance to go shoot.
like, I go out there. I asked him if we could film it. He says that like he'd prefer if we didn't film anything because it's like, yeah, I mean, it's pretty much at dark that they're the most active, and he says that you're not likely to get very much on film. You can get audio recordings. He has tons of audio recordings, but he says that like film like scares them away or whatever it is, man. I don't know. Says they're like intelligent.
Oh yeah, definitely. They know they're
And
being filmed.
this is a smart motherfucker, dude. Like he's not like crazy. He's spent his life in the military. Like this guy is. I mean, I believe every word he's saying. That's what trips me out. But
They gotta bring them on the show one of these days.
I've been trying to like. I think he. I don't know. I don't know if he wants to do it or if he's kind of beat it around the bush a little bit, but
Mm.
I would love to get him on and talk about it. Maybe just like an audio clip of him telling stories because his stories are good enough to where
Yeah,
we could sit and just listen to it. You know what I mean?
so
But
do a podcast that everybody can see and just
yeah, that'd be a good idea. But anyways, I'm out of
and
time here. It
yeah,
didn't go that. I mean, this didn't go that bad, dude. The connection's not so bad. Like, hey,
I think the internet is actually better here than it was at the house I was at before.
the group, I guess one of the groups out here they went to the Black Diamond Cemetery or something like that. I was gonna go, but I alas did not. I just need to get over my fear and just go out there. But
You got to, man. It's
bro,
amazing.
like I mean, I'm terrified. I'm gonna be honest. Like, dude, the things that I've seen in my life make me not want to be
Me
around
too.
that. Like I guess
It's
maybe I
not
just
so
need to.
bad as a group, though. By yourself, it's a different story, but in a group, it's not so bad.
The things that have happened to me like have happened when I was with other people. Have you ever seen that shit where they, in Stranger Things, where the girl goes into a trance and then all of a sudden she's getting like
Uh,
she's with her friends? But dude, that kind of shit has happened to me where I've gotten thrown into like spontaneous places and like I don't know how to explain it, but
you definitely need to go there.
I don't know. I think when I read that theory about some brains spontaneously producing more DMT, immediately made me think of your brain, the way you dream. I think that your brain actively produces more DMT than it should, and mine. Like,
It explain a lot.
dude, I'm telling you, it explains quite a bit. Like, but it doesn't mean that UFOs and stuff like that are not real. I think that we're dealing with something that none of us understand. You know what I mean? But anyway,
Yeah,
it's conversation for another day.
that is for sure.
I'm gonna go to sleep.
Yeah, I'm off tomorrow, so I'm gonna go out and explore.
You lucky bastard! I gotta go to work. But
Good times, man.
anyway, man, I'll chat with you later.
All right, it's been fun, man. You take it easy.
Been real.
All right, later, everybody.